that's an interesting part of this game. Cam Jurgens has never had to make protection calls against Steve Spagnuolo.
True, yeah.
And Jalen Hurts does not make the protection calls for the Eagles. Yeah. Jurgens does.
Yeah.
And, like, is there a world here where the Chiefs are just like, we know your rules. We're going to break every one of them, and there's nothing you're doing about it. Like, how much you want to bet in this game the Chiefs walk Bolton or Reed up in the A-gap, and they try to make it so, like, you got to guard them one-on-one across the board, and it's Jones on Mekhi Becton. Okay? Jones against Mekhi Becton in the run game, good battle.
Yeah.
Jones against Mekhi Becton in a pass set, it's a problem.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank. If you're thinking about starting a business or know someone who is, check out Emprise Bank's SBA loans. It's always good to know your options, and they can be your partner in possible.
It's that football show here on KC Sports Network. Tucker Franklin hanging out in person, live from, Matt, I don't know if you've seen this, Media Row now. It's not Radio Row, Media Row.
Oh, well, that makes it different. It looks so much different than it has in past years. Everybody's still walking around. Look, I say this as a proud card-carrying member of the group I'm about to annihilate.
Yeah, right.
We're all the worst-dressed people in the world, okay? If you tried to find the group of people who are worst dressed, just look for guys in media. Like, women, I feel like they go on, right? Like,
100%.
hair, the nails.
Yep.
Guys are like, I don't know, this pair of shorts I found in the back of the closet and a T-shirt. I haven't worn this shirt in like 2 years. But I was like, you know what? Good. Bring it out for the Super Bowl. Like, there's no group of people that are worse. And it gets worse as the week goes on.
Yeah.
Like, Monday, Tuesday, like, people are somewhat trying to impress. By Friday, you're like, hey, man, you wear that outfit yesterday? Yep. Showered in it. Like, all right. So... yeah, welcome to Media Row down here in New Orleans.
Media Row. I was talking with Trevor Sikkema, podcast that'll air on Friday. We talked about the maybe they're gone woke, calling it Media Row. You know, maybe next time it's going to be Meta Row or whatever, TikTok Row.
Hey, you know what they say, go woke, go broke, or if you're the NFL, make $25 billion a year. So
it's true.
But yeah, I did not know. I honestly had no idea it was Media Row now.
It's all signage says Media Row.
What's like, was that a big issue? Like, were people calling up the NFL like, hey, we are a podcast. We're not radio. Like, oh, sorry.
I don't know. You know, look, the NFL has bigger problems that they're not going to tackle, but they will tackle the Media Row differential. Shout out to our hall sponsors, by the way, Holiday Distillery.
That's right.
As they make this podcast possible, we're hanging out here in New Orleans.
Yep.
Matt just got in a little bit ago. I've been here since opening night. I was here for opening night, so we got to see that whole zoo.
Oh, my God.
Good Lord.
I didn't watch it.
That's probably good. Nothing productive really happens.
I got the email from the league, like, here's the audio. I'm like, great, thanks. And then I started listening to it. It was like, who's your favorite official? I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I would have, honestly, if Mahomes had gotten off the podium and just decked that guy, would have been the greatest moment in Super Bowl history.
That'd have been great.
Like, if he had just been like, you know who my favorite official is? How about this? And then just roundhoused him. Like, amazing for the content. Didn't happen, sadly. But not, listen, I'm glad to be down here. I got off the plane. I wore my suit down here that I'm going to wear to the game.
Nice. Yeah.
One time an airline lost my suit. I was like, never again.
Fair.
So I wore it, which is not the most comfortable thing in the world to fly in.
Fair.
I get to the hotel. I'm like, listen, so if you change and then head out. And they're like, oh, your room won't be ready for 2 hours. It's like, I'm going to change in your lobby. And then they're like, you know what? Actually, here's a room. Like, yeah, that's right. So, it worked out. Here I am, living the dream. But, no, listen, we're getting to it now. Like,
we are.
Practices are starting, and, we got one more media availability with the teams on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's it. Like, then it's hunker down and play football. Yeah, I'll be there on Sunday. I'm looking forward to it. And see if the Chiefs can make some history.
I'm excited to actually talk about the game because, again, I talked about this with Trevor before we started recording.
Right.
The game is so, low on the rung of priorities in this room specifically. But Chiefs are playing in it. We cover the Chiefs. We talk about the Chiefs. So we'll talk about the game here for a little bit. And I think it's kind of refreshing, too, for Trevor. He's talking about the draft. He's going around all these podcast networks, and they're talking about the draft because 29 other teams only care about the draft right now. So we get to talk about a game, and a football game that I think is going to be a pretty good one when it comes down to it. But how's the vibes level for you going to this one from the Chiefs' perspective?
I feel like it's good, honestly. Like, I've seen a lot of people argue that this Eagles team's better than the team from 2 years ago.
Mm.
And I just cannot get there. I cannot. And look, It's not that I think the Eagles aren't a really good team.
Right.
They're here.
Yeah.
They went 14-3. They're really good. Like,
True, yeah.
It's not an accident. But I just felt like that team had 70 sacks. You know, like they had Kelsey in the middle. Not that Jurgen's a bad player. He's not Kelsey.
No.
Right. So it's like, I'll tell you what I think is not so much vibes, but like the biggest thing that I'm curious to see with this game. Steve Spagnuolo against Kellen Moore. It's one thing, and Kellen Moore's probably going to be the coach down here. Right. Come like Monday morning. It's one thing when you're going against Shane Steichen, who's one of the better offensive minds in the league, and he knows how to use motions and shifts and different personnel packages. Kellen Moore is pretty static in the way they play football.
Yeah.
If you tell Steve Spagnuolo where you're lining up every play, I have questions about how that's going to play out. And, look, I'm hoping that the discourse down here is wise and smart, no matter who you think's going to win. And not like I heard somebody, I'm not going to say who it was, but I heard somebody prominent today on my flight down here. I was listening to a podcast. And they're like, I think the Eagles are the better team if you don't count the quarterbacks. So I'm picking the Eagles. And I was like, what? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So your analysis is that if we don't include the best player in the world, that you think the Eagles are the better team? It's like, well, yeah, sure. I mean, if the Cavs in 2015 or whatever it was didn't have LeBron.
Right.
Yes, they're not a finals team.
Right.
Yeah. Like, no kidding. I just, so I'm hoping for a wiser discourse down here than maybe I've heard in some sermons.
Yeah, I think that might be a fool's errand. A fool's errand to wish for that. Look, I mean, if any of the, the media will thin out kind of as the game gets closer because they're NFL's a little bit more selective with game credentials, right? And so you're not going to hear the ref questions that you'll see going around all the time. I did think that it was handled pretty well by the Chiefs. Both Kelsey and Mahomes handled those questions really well. But the discourse around this game has kind of been hijacked, I think, by a lot of that when this is a really good matchup between two pretty darn good football teams. It's interesting you bring that up. I think, Matt, this might have been after the podcast we were talking about this last week when we were talking about just position by position.
Right.
This team is they're fairly even, but if you do include the quarterbacks, that's a very big advantage. I think they got an advantage in coaching as well.
Yeah, they do. This is where I get annoyed. You get these bozos who do these tail of the tape things, right? And they're like, hey, Eagles running back, Eagles receivers. All right, Chiefs maybe a tight end, offensive line, give it to Philly, D-line. And they go through this whole thing. And you're like, yes, but the quarterback matters 100 times more than who's better in corner.
Yeah.
It just does. And it's not like the tail of the tape is like Allen and Mahomes. It's 1 and 2.
Uh-huh.
Hurts is somewhere between probably, if you game it out, 12 and 15. Somewhere in that range. If you put, here's how I try to look at this, right or wrong. If you put Jalen Hurts in the AFC, where would you rank him?
Well, I don't even think he's the best quarterback in the NFC. That's the other.
He's not. He's not Jaden Daniels.
Right.
He's not Stafford.
So, and if you're already just saying the top quarterbacks, 6 of them are already from the AFC.
I got to be honest. I think Baker Mayfield's a better quarterback.
He had a better year this year.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, to be fair to Hurts, would I take him over Kyler Murray? Yes.
Yeah.
Would I take him over Dak?
Probably.
Probably. Right.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Probably. Jordan Love?
Depends. Is it Toyotathon?
Oh.
Toyotathon Jordan Love is a different breed.
He is. We don't know, though, if it's Toyotathon. But my point is, if you put him in the AFC, where the Chiefs are used to, that's the pool that the Chiefs swim in.
Right.
It's not Mahomes. It's not Lamar. It's not Josh Allen. It's not Joe Burrow. He's probably not Stroud or Herbert.
Mm.
So you're barely in the top half of the conference, and that's where it just becomes that doesn't mean the Eagles can't win.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
They're not good. But what it does mean is it matters.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge differentiator. The difference between Saquon Barkley and Isaiah Pacheco or Kareem Hunt is huge.
Absolutely.
It matters a lot less than the difference between Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes, or Andy Reid and Nick Sirianni, or Kellen Moore and Steve Spagnuolo. It matters. Those gaps matter way more than Nick Bolton or Zach Bowen. All right, yeah, sure, whatever, man. You could win a Super Bowl with an atrocity at middle linebacker.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't win a Super Bowl as Jordan Love's walking by us. You can't win. Just scream out. You ask him it's Toyota-thon.
Right.
You can't win a Super Bowl if your quarterback is terrible, with very, very, very rare exceptions.
Yeah. I mean,
It happens. But
Yeah.
It's extraordinarily rare.
Dilfer.
Phil
Flacco.
Furr, like Brad Johnson, John Elway.
Johnson. Now there's a guy, Brad Johnson.
Brad Johnson. Bucks scored 3 defensive touchdowns. That game helped him out. Yeah.
That story's crazy. Just I know Gruden told it like the other day on like he does stuff with Barstool obviously, but he was telling about how like he was traded to the Bucks that year.
Yep.
And like that's insane to like think about a coach being traded then playing their team in the Super Bowl they were traded from, like crazy.
I always appreciate that Bucks team, Gruden told them at the beginning of the year, like, we have to score 9 defensive touchdowns. Basically saying the offense is a dumpster fire. And then they scored 9 defensive touchdowns in the season, 3 of which came in the Super Bowl. Like, Gruden was just like, yeah, listen, I'm looking at Brad Johnson. We're going to need 9 defensive scores. And the defense is like, all right, cool, got you.
Yeah.
Speaking of defenses, one thing I think is interesting in this game,
Pro transition.
and listen, it's now, it's what Kissel pays me the big buck. I see you, Kissel. But no, like, the Eagles have created 10 takeaways in the playoffs.
Right, yeah.
They did that and barely beat the Rams. And, like, that Packers game was tight throughout. So my curiosity in this game is, like, let's say the turnover battle's even. Let's just say it's 0-0, 1-1.
Yeah.
Can the Eagles win a game against Kansas City without that advantage? Maybe. Maybe they can. But in the playoffs, like, they've been plus 10, and 2 of those 3 games are still tight.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know, can you pull away? I mean, the best team either one of these teams has played in the playoffs is Buffalo.
Absolutely.
And the Chiefs were -1, and, like, that one cost them 7 points.
Yeah.
Right? And they still won. Like, I'm just curious. This offense is a different breed than it was earlier in the year. The 27.7 points per game with Hollywood Brown.
For sure. Yep.
You know, I said it last week. I'll say it again, man. The Eagles have got to get pressure in this game. They have to get. There's no world where Mahomes is sitting in the clean pocket and fans just like, this is great. Shut him down. It's not going to happen.
It is really interesting. I know you mentioned Fangio already, and then just the what he has done against Mahomes, which, you know, some people like to think that he's been successful against Patrick Mahomes, but he's never won a game against Patrick Mahomes. I think is also interesting because it does seem like his defenses do slow him down, but Patrick Mahomes still wins. Like, that's just what happens a lot of the time. I'm curious to see kind of that chess match on that side of the ball, which is like, are they going to blitz him? Like, doesn't do a whole lot of that usually.
So in 8 games, everybody knows the whole 0-8 stat. Right?
Yeah.
In 8 games, they've sacked Mahomes 11 times.
Going to do that more.
Not going to do it.
Yeah.
Like, you're just not going to win the game doing that. And they had Von Miller and Bradley Chubb and Van
Good
Ginkel
players.
and Jalen Phillips. Like, it's not like they've had, like, a bum fest. Like, they've had real guys. Christian Wilkins, Zach Sheeler, 11 sacks. And if you want to include when he was working for the Eagles 2 years ago as a consultant, he's going 9, and he still has 11 sacks. Like, that. So the concern if you're looking at this from the Eagles standpoint, the concern I'd have in this game is, okay, if we don't get pressure with 4, what do we do? Because they don't blitz. The 28th blitz rate this year. So if you don't blitz and you can't get home with 4, or what do you do? You start to feed someone you're not?
Right.
Do you just pray to God you can hold them? Like, Fangio's had success in the red zone against Mahomes. That's kind of where he succeeded. But they've still scored a lot of points. Like,
Yeah.
last year they played the Dolphins, and the Dolphins held them in the red zone. They still scored 26 points. I just think if you're Fangio, man, you just can't sit back in this game and go, yeah, hopefully it works out. 4-man rush, Milt Williams, good luck, bud. Get in there. You know, like, I look at this game. For anyone who doesn't know, Fangio's defense is a lot of zone.
Uh-huh.
It's a lot of bend but don't break. We're going to let you complete the underneath passes and tackle. And they suffocate the deep ball. That's kind of what they're known for. But the Chiefs are like, great.
Thank you.
We're not even going to try to throw one. Like, a deep ball for the Chiefs is a swing pass.
Right, yeah.
Right? So for years, when Fangio was in Denver and they played the Tyreek Hill Chiefs, that was like the perfect way to play the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Make them, 12 plays, 7 yards. The Chiefs now, like, you're going to let us throw 7 yards? Like, fantastic. Like, here it is, bang, bang, bang. I just wonder in this game if that is the correct approach, but it is the approach he's always had.
Right, yeah.
You can't really change who you are at this point. You can throw wrinkles in there, but you're not just radically all of a sudden, now you're not going to go to a Tampa 2 and blitz 50% of the time. So you are.
That's what makes me feel so confident in this game, kind of this matchup going in there, is because of this offense looks so much better with Hollywood Brown, as you already mentioned. It looks so much better with Hollywood Brown integrated into the whole thing. It looks completely different. This team looks completely different, even on the defensive side of the ball of things going. And the Chiefs might end up shortening this game if the Vanderbilt ends up doing it. Like, this game might get dark quick for the Eagles. Like, the lights might turn on a little early for those guys.
That's got to be their biggest fear.
Yeah,
is like if the Chiefs come out in this game like they did against Buffalo,
right,
and don't fumble, and it's like 14-3, 10 minutes into the game, because then you're going, oh, okay, Jalen, we're throwing to Calcaterra now. You're like, okay, here it comes. Like they're going to show Spags, and Spags is going to be over there smoking a cigarette. Like it's going through the menu. Like, oh, God, we can blitz 9. Even if they score, we're still up with the ball. Like, the more the Chiefs get up in the game, the more risks they can take defensively and go, all right, fine. You want to run Saquon?
100%.
Cool. We're going to blitz the hell out of you in this game.
yeah,
Look, man, I think Saquon's got to have a big game.
yeah.
I don't see a world where he doesn't and the Eagles score 30 points. I just don't think that's going to happen. Again, I've seen people point out, well, Jalen Hurts 2 years ago. Yeah, Shane Steichen was running the offense 2 years ago.
Yep.
Great. And you know what? Travis Kelce was doing all the protection calls 2 years ago. And by the way, I've had more than a few people say it to me, like off the record. Like, hey, that's an interesting part of this game. Cam Jurgens has never had to make protection calls against Steve Spagnuolo.
True, yeah.
And Jalen Hurts does not make the protection calls for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Jurgens does.
Yeah.
And like, is there a world here where the Chiefs are just like, we know your rules. We're going to break every one of them, and there's nothing you're doing about it. Like, how much you want to bet in this game the Chiefs walk Bolton or Reed up in the A-gap, and they try to make it so, like, you got to guard them one-on-one across the board, and it's Jones on Mekhi Becton. Okay? Jones against Mekhi Becton in the run game, good battle.
Yeah.
Jones against Mekhi Becton in a pass set, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Like, the Eagles inside are not bad, but they're not what they were 2 years ago inside. Like, this is a different group. The tackles are fantastic.
Yeah.
Right? But I wonder how much you get a Menahu lined up inside in this game. And they're like, hey, you know what? How about FAU against Jordan Mailata? Go for it. We don't care.
Yeah.
Overload that side, and we'll get pressured that way. FAU, by the way, showed up last year in the Super Bowl. And like last week, played okay, and then had a sack against Houston. So maybe for the Chiefs, you're like, hey, you know what? 15 snaps FAU is not the worst thing that's ever happened. Like,
he's always been a right place, right time guy for the Chiefs. Now, very different than at Kansas State. He was getting double teamed all the time in his last year there, and he was a beast. Like, he won Defensive Player of the Year in the Big 12 2 years in a row, I think. But I think with just the ability for him to make these plays at the right time is obviously really big, and these runs and look, when no one's blocking him, he might be the best defender out there, and I hope that for a lot of players. But for him, it's been so true so far.
I just come out in a ridiculous form. Like, just come out with like Pennell in the slot.
Oh,
big slot. It's like, you're not running. We got Big Mike over there covering Devonta Smith. He doesn't get off the line.
No.
No, but I think if you're the Chiefs, the game plan's got to be, listen, we got to limit Barkley.
Yeah.
And he's going to have his. Like, he's going to get his. You can't let him have a 50-yard run.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets a couple 15-yarders, okay.
Yeah.
You'll live with it. And then you try the best you can to take away the outside receivers.
Uh-huh.
Like, to me, this is a Chamari Connor in the slot game.
Ooh.
Like, I'm playing McDuffie and Watson exclusively outside. Najee Johnson is seeing as many snaps as I am in this game, okay? Joshua Williams, same deal. Like, I'm playing because Jamari Connor in the slot, fine. Who's his face? Jahan Dotson?
Right, yeah.
Like, he can handle it. It's okay. What you don't want is Najee Johnson on A.J. Brown, right? Like, you don't want that.
Right.
That you don't. So I just think for the Chiefs, I think the matchups are, like, fairly advantageous for them. Like, I don't think it's a bad I've seen a lot of people talk about, I don't know how the Chiefs are going to stop Barkley. Like, I don't know, have you watched Chiefs this year? Like,
they've been pretty damn good against running backs.
The Chiefs also have this amazing capacity, and they've been like this for years, this Spags, where, like, you'll look at them and they'll be getting gassed at certain times. Then there's a point in the game like, all right, got to stop the run now. Like, okay, cool, 3 and out, done.
Boom. Yeah.
They do it. So it's like my whole feeling is if they want to stop the run in this game, they will do it.
Yeah.
To some level. I mean, Barkley's a great player, but like they will, as Spags used to say about Derrick Henry, kill the engine.
Yeah.
Like, I think they will. I think they'll, 20 carries for 90 yards. A lot of guys, that's a good game. If Saquon Barkley does it, I mean, listen, if somebody told Steve Spagnuolo right now, hey, Steve, 20 for 90, what do you think? It's done, signed, delivered, all of it, right? So, yeah, I think that's how it might play out in this game.
Well, there's been a lot of news happening in the NFL as well, with you got some trades being asked for, everything like that. So we're going to talk about that coming up right after this break. Stay with us. We'll be back with you from Media Row.
Shop Chiefs tickets and more with no fees. Plus, save big with code KCSN at ticketsforless.com, the official ticket provider of KC Sports Network.
Back here in Media Row in New Orleans, Louisiana, huge convention center here.
It is massive.
It is the size of the convention center is crazy. And you and I were talking about this before. The place where you could pick up your credentials, not close to Media Row.
No, I walked for a while. I had a couple drinks this afternoon, and I got to tell you, I walked them right off. So now, the buzz was gone. Now I got to start all over.
Oh, yeah.
Real tragedy that is. I hope I can find a drink on in New Orleans on Super Bowl week. But no, it is huge. It is like I was walking. I just kept walking and walking.
I know, it doesn't end.
God, like where the hell is this place? Like am I going to end up in like the Gulf of whatever the hell we're calling it now?
I don't know.
Mexico, America, Greenland. I don't know. Can't keep track of it.
Canada, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Sure, why not? The Gulf of Canada, that's just big Lake Erie.
Yeah.
Just the Gulf of Canada.
Those need to be seas.
Seas.
I know you live next to the Great Lakes. They should be seas. They should not be.
The Sea of Michigan.
Yeah, that'd be. How sick would that
That'd be dope.
Yeah.
That'd be dope. The Sea of Erie that you're going to light on fire.
I just said that the Great Lakes need a better marketing team.
Can you name the 5 Great Lakes?
No. Superior, Michigan, Erie.
Huron.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Now we're dope.
Wow, we look really tough.
We're pretty fucking stupid.
Too. Yeah.
Michigan, Erie, Huron, Superior. Yes. Oh, my God. I went to college on Lake Ontario, bro. From you to me, my dorm halls from Lake Ontario. I was so inebriated for 4 years. It was. I remember when I graduated and I got my diploma and I walked across the stage and the dean looked at me and was like, really? Like, I know. I can't believe it either. I'm like, congratulations, your school just went down in value.
Yeah.
That is the saddest thing ever. I went to school for 4 years. I could have thrown a football from my dorm hall and hit the lake. And I forgot that Lake Ontario existed.
That's all right. I do too. I forget that Great Lakes exist all the time. That's
tough.
I've only flown over, I think, Lake Michigan. What's the one by Chicago?
Yeah, Michigan.
Michigan? Yeah, I've only flew over that one.
I dated a girl once who, there's a game, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I remember, yep. And one of the nights we were playing with another couple, and she and the girlfriend of my other buddy, they could not, between them, name the 4 oceans. And we were in college.
Oh, no.
And
I can do that.
We had to break up.
Yeah.
We split up.
I think that's the only, logical reaction.
She thought 2 of them were the Mediterranean and the Caribbean.
Oh, no.
I was like, you know what? Listen, it's been real. And I wish you all the best. But we can't have children. I'm dumb enough. We can't afford you telling the kids that it's the Mediterranean Ocean. Okay? We can't live with that. So, but then she could have turned around like, you can't even name the lake you live next to for 4 years. That's good.
Yeah.
Anyway, before I jump into one of the big lakes.
I'm sure she's not listening to this podcast. Imagine. That'd be wild.
No. Not a chance in hell.
Fair enough.
So
Myles Garrett.
Also next to Lake Erie. Myles Garrett. If you're the Chiefs, you make a phone call?
I think you got to inquire, right?
Yes.
You have to do your due diligence.
If the Browns said to you, okay, so for people who are unaware, when you acquire a player in a trade, you acquire the base salary as your cap hit.
Correct,
Okay.
yeah.
His base salaries over the next 2 years, grand total of like $2.7 million. Okay. Now he's going to want extension and new money and all that crap, right? But that's just where the contract is right now. If the Browns called you and said 2 first-round picks, this year's, next year's,
That's pretty steep.
29.
Pretty good.
Yep.
He is 29.
29.
So then you're looking at
And you got to give him new money.
and you got to give him new money, and you're looking at now your cornerstones. I'll say that in air quotes because Trent McDuffie's obviously still on the defense.
Correct.
But your main cornerstones of your defensive line are now over 30 and nearing 30.
Correct.
So I think that like 2 firsts is probably a little bit too steep for me personally, but
I agree.
that's a damn good football player.
I mean, if I'm Veach, I'm like first and a third.
Oh yeah, I'd do
Right.
that in a heartbeat.
How do you feel about a first and a third in FAU?
Yeah, I'd still do that.
Right, because then at least they get a player that maybe can
Yeah.
develop, and they get the 5th-year option.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I got to tell you, I know it seems like I'm sure the Chiefs fans are like, "Oh, come on, there's no way." Listen, you want the 8, Pete? Okay, you're gonna need Myles Garrett for that 8, Pete. Right?
Look, I was already telling people over here today that I was like, next year when the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, I'll do this differently.
Listen, in all seriousness, I always operate off the idea of like, what is something you could do as a team that your biggest rivals like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Can you imagine the reaction in Western New York if it came down that the Chiefs traded a first, a third, and FAU for Myles Garrett?
Yeah.
You think that's it? Do they just like trade Allen at that point? Like we're rebuilding? You know, like
I don't know how you recover.
the answer is no, kids. It would,
No, you don't trade Josh Allen.
But like, if you're the Bills, I think at this point, fair to say the Chiefs' biggest rival, threat to get there. You'd be like, are you serious? Like we had him and Chris Jones. Yeah, it'd be great too when they just move both to the same side.
Oh,
Like here it comes. Like it's gonna put Chris on the right side. Gonna put it next to Miles. Everyone's gonna overload blitz the other side. Good luck, everyone. Like does Karlaftis have 20 sacks?
probably.
Just not blocked. Like we're gonna take a chance. It's not blocked.
We're gonna do 2 double teams.
We're sliding the whole line. We're gonna hope that George just doesn't get there in time where he slips or something.
Right.
I mean, like Deshaun Wharton's gonna look like Aaron Donald. I mean, I really like. All kidding aside, though, I would make the phone call. Like, I would make a legitimate phone call and say, "All right, look. First of all, I'd call his agent. Not that that's legal by league rules. No one would ever do that.
Right.
Okay. Not that happens.
Easy talk.
Yeah, not that Indianapolis get a suite and just go up there. All right, let's talk about this. But like, sit down with his agent and be like, all right, look, he's going to be 30.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically speaking, first of all, he's want to come here, right? Which you'd imagine the answer would be yes. But like, let's say he says, okay, yeah, he wants to be here. Okay, we will extend him. So he's signed for 2 more years. We'll give him a 2-year extension beyond that. So he's signed essentially through age 33.
Right.
And we'll give him, we'll turn the contract into 4 and 120. We'll guarantee 80 of it. So like the 4th year of the deal is basically like, if we get out of it, there's a little pain in it for us, but like, okay, you kind of got to earn that 4th year.
Yeah.
If I'm Brett Veach, like, yeah, I'm probably having that conversation, right? Like, and then if the Browns are like, okay, a first and a third, now I'm not giving them 2 firsts. It's just too much. A first and a second even. But keep in mind, too, the Chiefs have an extra 3rd-round pick this year, and it's basically a 2nd-round pick.
That is true, yeah.
So what if you gave up a first and that pick? Here you go.
Pretty all right with that.
I mean, and look, all the draft people out there, okay? The Matty Lanes of the world, the Ken Swansons, I see you. Yeah. Hey, listen, deal with it, okay? Like, that would be unbelievable.
Yeah.
To me, I don't know, man. Like, I know it's a little pie in the sky, but you're trying to win the Super Bowl every year with this team.
Yeah.
Good luck. You have Mahomes on one side, that on the other side, those 2 guys, with McDuffie. You would be obscene.
Yeah.
Obscene. You get Rasheed Rice back, and oh, by the way, here comes Myles Garrett.
That'd be a good way to keep Steve Spagnuolo as your defensive coordinator.
Yes. It'd also be the easiest, like, talk about smoking a cigarette. The guy would just, he'd have like a pipe. I think we'll blitz, with 4, because you don't even have to bring pressure.
No.
I just look at a guy like that, man, and say, if you don't at least make the call, you're crazy. Now, maybe it's prohibitive. Maybe some team outbid you, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you call up first in Tennessee's 3rd-round pick, and Andrew Berry's like, please hold, all right, let's talk about this. Sure. We just saw Luka Doncic get traded for a 32-year-old center.
Oh, my gosh.
And Dallas threw in a pick, okay? Anything is possible. You don't know until you don't know. You don't know.
Oh, that was insane. I can remember I was in my bed getting ready for bed and I saw it and I was like, there's no way.
I was
That's true, right?
I just finished watching the Knicks and the Lakers.
What?
And I was like sitting in my chair, just annoyed that the Knicks gave it up to the Lakers. And I saw it come across. I'm like, that's stupid. What? And then I was like, I had the same reaction of everybody else.
Yeah.
Man, Shams got hacked. That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw like Fred Katz, who used to cover the Knicks, now is like just a general guy for the Athletic, national guy. He's like, no, it's real. I was like, what? And then I reread the original tweet like 17 times.
Yeah.
I was like, the Lakers just got Luka Doncic for I'm constantly hurt Anthony Davis, Max Christie, who historically speaking, due respect to Max Christie, is me, okay? And at first in like 2029 or whatever the hell it is, I was like, as a Knicks fan, I was like, could we have traded Mitchell Robinson
Right.
and like campaign? Like, was that on the board? Like Mitchell Robinson, Deuce McBride, and like some second round pick?
Unreal.
Unbelievable. So, hey, don't give up on your dreams, kids. You never know.
No, I mean, like, that might have been maybe the most jarring sports trades of all time.
Oh, easy.
Like, I think it's up there with,
Kiko Alonso and LaShawn McCoy.
yeah, that's not
It's 1-for-1.
that all tough one to swallow.
Kiko Alonso. That's former Eagles great, Kiko Alonso.
That's true. That's true. Right?
That trade, I mean, I can't even, honestly, man, like, you don't see trades like that in the NFL.
No.
You just don't. So it'd be like another NBA trade. I thought about it. Paul George to the Clippers.
Yeah.
Like, that was, but like even that, like wasn't like stunning. I don't know. That's the Mavs had Jalen Brunson and Luka Doncic and got basically nothing.
They had Kristaps too, and they didn't get anything for him.
And like I know people out there, Anthony Davis is nothing. Like, yes, he's a great player, but like compared to Luka Doncic, you basically got nothing.
Right.
Like, it's like if the Knicks traded Jalen Brunson for like Kyle Kuzma, and we're like, it's the same. Like, no, actually, it's not.
It's not.
By the way, Chris Middleton going to the Wizards.
I saw that.
Knicks have got to swing in there. Knicks got to get in there. Get that wingman. I don't know who the hell they'll trade for him, but just figure it out.
Getting dark quick.
Yeah, trade Mitchell Robinson. I'm sending Mitch everywhere. Yeah, I like Mitch. He's always hurt.
You're calling him off for Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah.
Another bit of news that happened today in the NFL. They're going to play in Australia. How the hell is that going to work?
So the Rams might have more fans in Australia than they do in LA.
Really? I didn't know they were that big in Australia.
Well, they're not big in LA, so I mean, it's a low bar. Whose house? And then it's like, whose house?
Whose house?
It's like,
is it a question?
Someone's house, like the visitor's house. Yeah, I mean, I saw that. It was like, listen, none against the great people of Australia.
Phenomenal people.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, hey guys, enjoy going to Australia. I hope it's like week 9. Like
It has to be the opening game, right?
You
Like,
enjoy
it has to
so.
be.
But I'm
Opening
like,
week,
but like football's got to be careful, man, because it's starting to go down this road with this stuff of like how baseball now opening day is in like Tokyo,
And then they play more spring training games. That is
so
unreal.
when I was rooting for the A's and wanting to commit harm to myself,
Naturally, yeah.
they would play the Mariners over there like every other year. And, some of those years, A's were good. Like, some of those years, like, they were all division-winning playoff team, right? I'd wake up at, like, 4 a.m., and then, Bartolo Colon would give up a homer, and I'd be, fuck this, and turn it off and roll over. I'll be, I don't give a shit if they're 0-2. It's fine. It's 162 games.
Right.
But, like, the NFL, man, you care. Like, if you go to Australia and you lose, shit, that's a problem. It's not great. I hate all this stuff. Like, I don't mind them going to England.
No,
I don't mind them going to Germany. Like, those are their trips, but like Australia,
that's like a whole day's difference.
that's like another planet.
Yeah.
That is a lot. That is a lot, man.
It's gonna mess with some internal. That's why I think it has to be the first game of the season, or like
Yeah.
first week of the season, like we saw with the Sao Paulo game in Brazil, which
went off great.
Yeah, it went well, right?
Don't leave your hotel. And listen, you might all break your ankles.
Also, don't wear green, even though both the teams are wearing green.
Yes, because don't leave your hotel.
Yeah,
Yeah, good times.
that was great.
I know we're up on time here.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the right time to do this. Do you have a prediction for this game?
Ooh, no, it is the right time. I think it's the right time for this. I like a lot what you said about how the Chiefs can shorten this game, and I think that when I think about this game, I think there is a lot more ways I can see the Chiefs winning than I can see the Eagles winning. I think there's more avenues for the Chiefs to pull off a win than there are for the Eagles. Like, you know those memes where you see like the split roads, the forks in the roads, right? The forks. There's several more forks for the Chiefs on the good side than there is the bad side.
I would agree.
And I feel pretty confident. I mean, this is probably the most confident I've felt about a Chiefs team heading into a Super Bowl. Last year against the Niners, look, I thought the Niners were the better team. Like, that was a very good football team. I think the Chiefs are the better football team here, and I think they might flex their muscle a little bit and show it. Like, I think it might be a two-score victory you're talking about. Maybe 10 points with a late score, to kind of make it a little bit more cosmetic. But it's like something like 24-14 is what I'm thinking. I don't think the Chiefs are going to score 34 points. I don't think it's going to be one of those games where the Eagles are scoring, what they score 50 in the NFC Championship game?
54.
Yeah, they're not going to do that. Like, I think it's going to be a fairly low-scoring game because both these teams are going to kind of rely on their defenses. I think 24-14 I feel pretty good about.
Yeah, so for SI, my official prediction was 27-23 Kansas City.
Okay.
To your point, though, the more the week goes on, the more I'm like, 30-20. I just feel like in this game, the most important matchups, the coaches, the quarterbacks, they're just drastically tilted toward Kansas City. Like,
100%.
And like, it's not even just the talent, it's the way they want to play. Jalen Hurts is not good against blitzes. He's not good against pressure. What are the Chiefs? The Chiefs are just like, they get off the bus blitz in 7. Right? Like, they blitz everybody. The Eagles do not give up explosive plays. They will let you take the underneath throw. Well, what do the Chiefs want to do? Like, the more you look at the game, the more you're just like, I feel like the Eagles are going to have to be somebody they're not to win this game.
100%. Yes.
That typically does not work well. That typically spells disaster. I think the Eagles are good enough. It's not a disaster, but I think it's a game that you feel like throughout the second half, the Chiefs have control of the game.
Yeah.
So I'll say 30-20. I think they're going to win the game.
I like it. I like both same point differential. Then.
Yeah.
10-point differential. I haven't checked books recently. Look, I'm staring at the FanDuel set. We got the DraftKings Sportsbook set behind us that is also massive, and they've got every video board, I think, in the world over there. There's some massive sets down here at Media Row. Some pretty cool. I like looking around and just seeing what everybody else does with it. Like, I think that's really cool with the two tables that they're given. Like, what you can do with the two tables.
I think it's nuts, man. When I first started coming down to Super Bowls, gambling was illegal.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
And now, because I'm old and dying, now I look around. It's like FanDuel and DraftKings are like the biggest setups there are.
Yeah.
Times have changed. Times have changed. But my first Super Bowl week was, I didn't go to the game, but it was Super Bowl 51. It's Falcons and Pats. And this is the fifth. This is the fifth game I'll cover.
Houston, right?
Yep. This is the fifth game I'll cover, and it's just so different. Even, now I can go. I remember when it was Radio Row.
Yeah.
You don't understand what the struggle was.
I can't even say that. This is my first Super Bowl, so I can't even say I remember. I've only known Media Row. I'm too green.
I got news for you. You didn't miss anything. It's the same fucking thing.
That's going to do it for that football show here on KC Sports Network. Appreciate our friends at Holiday Distillery for getting us set up right. Always. They always get us set up right when we are down here. That's going to do it from us in New Orleans. We will have more content for you coming up later on in the week. Obviously, we'll have our 5 things as well leading up into the game. So we'll talk to you later.